If this video doesn't shift something in you even a little, tell me in the comments, and I'll personally give you what you came here looking for. Envy is one of those emotions we pretend we don't speak, even though it's fluent in all of us. It doesn't usually announce itself loudly. It doesn't kick the door down and shout its name. It whispers, it watches, it compares. It smiles in public and tightens your chest in private. And if we're being honest, most of us learned early on that envy was something to be ashamed of, something ugly people feel, not something we're allowed to admit to. So we rename it. We call it motivation. We call it being realistic. We call it standards. But underneath, envy is still there, quietly translating the world for us in a language we never learned to read. Think about the last time you were genuinely happy for someone's success. Now think about the last time you smiled and said congratulations while feeling something sink inside you. That pause, that microsecond where your mind asked, why them and not me? That's the silent language of envy speaking. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It means you're human. The problem isn't feeling envy. The problem is not understanding what it's trying to tell you. Psychologically, envy is born from comparison, and comparison is born from identity. We don't envy people randomly. We envy people who reflect a version of ourselves we wish we were closer to. You don't envy someone living a life you don't want. You envy the friend who got the promotion you worked just as hard for. You envy the sibling who seems effortlessly loved. You envy the classmate who turned their passion into a career while you still waiting for permission to try. Envy points directly at desire, and desire points directly at unmet needs. Real life makes this painfully obvious. You scroll through social media after a long day, telling yourself you're just unwinding. Then you see someone your age announcing a milestone, a new house, an engagement, a business launch, a body transformation. Your thumb freezes for half a second. Your breath changes. You tell yourself, good for them. But your mind adds, I should be further by now. That moment isn't about them. It's about the story you're telling yourself about your own life. As Carl Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Envy often hides a deeper fear, the fear that life is a limited resource and someone else's win is your loss. Psychologists call this a scarcity mindset, and it's learned early. Growing up, attention might have been scarce, praise might have been conditional, love might have felt competitive. So your nervous system learned to measure worth by comparison. Who's ahead? Who's behind? Am I enough yet? Envy becomes a survival strategy, a way to track your position in the world. The tragedy is that it keeps you running a race no one ever agreed to. There's a quiet exhaustion that comes from this. You don't just want what others have. You want to stop feeling behind. And that's why envy often turns inward. It becomes self-criticism. It becomes procrastination. It becomes resentment toward people who did nothing wrong except remind you of a dream you put on hold. Have you noticed how envy sometimes shows up as judgment? You tell yourself they don't deserve it. They got lucky. They're not that talented. That's not arrogance. That's pain trying to protect your self-worth. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people avoid. Envy is not telling you to tear someone else down. It's telling you to listen more closely to yourself. It's asking, what do you want that you're not allowing yourself to pursue? What part of you feels unseen? What promise did you quietly break to yourself? As James Baldwin wrote, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. Envy is one of those things. Consider a real moment many people recognize. You attend a friend's wedding and feel genuinely happy for them, yet later that night you lie awake, questioning your own relationships. Or you watch a coworker receive praise and suddenly every insecurity about your career floods in. Or you see someone confidently living out loud and you feel small for playing safe. Envy doesn't create these doubts. It reveals them. It shines a harsh but honest light on the gap between who you are and who you believe you could be. The psychological root of envy often traces back to self-concept. When your sense of worth depends on external validation, other people's success feels threatening. When your identity is flexible and self-directed, envy softens into inspiration. That shift doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you stop asking, "Why don't I have that?" and start asking, "What is this showing me about what I value?" That question changes everything. Life doesn't hand out identical timelines. Some people bloom early. Some people build quietly. Some people take detours that later become the point. The danger is assuming someone else's chapter is a verdict on yours. As the quote goes, "Comparison is the thief of joy," but it's more than that. Comparison is the thief of presence. It pulls you out of your own life and drops you into a mental courtroom where you are always on trial. What if envy could become a teacher instead of a tormentor? What if, instead of silencing it with shame, you translated it into clarity? The moment you feel that familiar sting, you could pause and ask, "What do I admire here? What does this awaken in me? What small, honest step could I take toward that part of myself?" Envy loses its poison when it's met with courage. There's strength in admitting this, real strength. Not the performative kind, but the grounded kind that says, "I want more, and I'm willing to face why." Life isn't asking you to be flawless. It's asking you to be awake. As another life quote reminds us, you don't find yourself, you create yourself. And creation requires honesty, especially about the emotions we'd rather hide. So let me ask you something directly. Who do you secretly compare yourself to? What achievement makes your stomach tighten? What life do you tell yourself is unrealistic even though it won't leave your mind? And what would change if, instead of envying, you listened? Here's your call to action, and it's not a vague one. The next time envy shows up this week, don't scroll past it. Don't numb it. Write down exactly what triggered it and exactly what it made you feel about yourself. Then write one small action you can take that moves you closer to what you want, not closer to hating yourself. Share in the comments what came up for you if you're brave enough, or at least acknowledge it privately. Awareness is the first act of self-respect. Life is too short to live in silent competition with people who aren't even racing you. You're not behind. You're becoming. And the moment you stop letting envy define you is the moment it starts guiding you instead.